Justice is like a double-edged sword. A verdict can either punish the guilty or set the innocent free. But sometimes, the court chooses the wrong side, and that mistake can lead to an irreversible disaster. Courtroom. Dimly lit, tense atmosphere. Prosecutor Olivia Carter narrows her eyes, studying the uncertain expressions on the jury's faces. Across the room, the defendant, James Calloway, sits beside his attorney at the defense table. But he is different from the rest. James Calloway, exuding an eerie calm, leaning back in his chair, rhythmically tapping his fingers on the table. His eyes scan the jurors one by one, a faint smirk forming at the corner of his lips. Is it the satisfaction of a victory, or the hint of a plan no one has yet seen?
This court finds the defendant, James Calloway, not guilty due to insufficient evidence. He is hereby released.
In that moment, the air in the courtroom shifted. Prosecutor Olivia Carter exhaled deeply, her jaw tightening. But her instincts screamed that something was wrong. There was something in that man's eyes. Was a mistake being made?
Your Honor, how can we be certain this man is innocent? If we release him now, what if—
This court does not operate on emotions, Ms. Carter. The law speaks through evidence, and we do not have enough. The decision is final.
And at that moment, the only thing lingering in the courtroom was James Calloway's faint smile. The jurors, the judge, even his own attorney, none of them grasped what that smirk truly meant. But soon, they would. Because some men don't walk out of a courtroom as innocent men. They walk out as predators waiting for their prey. It had only been 48 hours since James Calloway walked free. The city was quiet, but something was shifting in the silence. One person would never wake up to another morning. Floorboards creak softly. The moonlight filters through the narrow hallway of an old building. One of the doors is slightly ajar. A long shadow moves across the dimly lit corridor. The figure walks forward in silence, pausing briefly at the door. The night draped the city in shadows, but some shadows were more dangerous than others. An old clock ticks steadily. A half-empty coffee cup sits on the table. Everything seems calm, until a whisper.
"Who's there?"
Silence. Then, a sharp scream. And immediately after, an eerie stillness. When morning came, someone was missing from that apartment, and across the city a body was found. But the real question was James Calloway truly innocent? Police officers cordon off the apartment entrance. Prosecutor Olivia Carter steps inside, accompanied by Detective Marcus Hayes. A body lies on the floor. Blood stains the nearby carpet, but no clear evidence is left behind.
How ironic. The man we just set free is now lurking in the shadow of another murder.
No, there's no evidence linking Calloway to this. But when I saw that smirk on his face in court, I knew someone was going to die.
The truth doesn't always reveal itself in court. Sometimes it hides in the bodies left behind by the ones who walk free. But this was only the beginning. Because James Calloway's plan was far from over. Justice had set a man free, but now another man was missing. And this time, the one who vanished was the very judge who released James Calloway. Prosecutor Olivia Carter's office. Morning sunlight streams through the large windows as Olivia's secretary, Lucy, approaches her desk with a worried expression.
Ms. Carter, Judge Holden is missing.
What do you mean he's missing? Didn't he go home after court yesterday?
No, his wife said he never came home last night. His phone is off. And the police, they haven't found anything yet.
And in that moment, Olivia Carter realized the chilling truth. James Calloway didn't just want his freedom. He wanted to silence justice itself. Prosecutor Olivia Carter rushes into Detective Marcus Hayes' office. The door swings open as she finds him scanning through case files, sipping his coffee.
Marcus, we have a serious problem. Judge Richard Holden is missing.
This isn't a coincidence. Calloway has a plan, and if we don't stop him, we could be next.
Had Judge Richard Holden fallen into the hands of James Calloway? If so, this case was no longer just about murder. It had become a personal vendetta, and time was running out to uncover the truth. There was no longer any doubt. Releasing James Calloway wasn't just a mistake, it was a fatal miscalculation. And now, that mistake had a new target. Judge Richard Holden. Police station, Prosecutor Olivia Carter and Detective Marcus Hayes sat in a dimly lit room, intently reviewing security footage. The cold glow of the monitor illuminated their tense expressions. Olivia's fingers trembled slightly as they hovered over the keyboard. Hours of searching had yielded nothing.
If Calloway really took the judge, he planned this carefully. People don't just vanish into thin air. He must have made a mistake somewhere.
Then we need to find that mistake. If we don't, we won't stop the next murder.
A grainy black and white image flickers onto the screen. A deserted parking lot, dim overhead lights, a lone figure. Olivia rewinds the footage and plays it again. And at that moment, the shadow sharpens into something recognizable.
Calloway.
The night Judge Richard Holden went missing, the only person spotted in the parking garage was James Calloway. He stood there for a moment, glancing around before slipping into the camera's blind spot. And minutes later, he was gone without a trace.
This isn't enough. We can't see his face clearly, but we know it's him.
Wait, look at that light. That's a car's headlights. If we're lucky, we can get a license plate number.
And in that moment, hope flickered in the midst of uncertainty. If they could track the car, they could track Calloway. But time was slipping away. If they didn't act fast, the next victim might be Olivia Carter herself.
Police dispatch? We need immediate access to the parking lot vehicle records. Judge Holden's life is in danger.
Fighting for justice sometimes meant playing a deadly game. And for Olivia Carter, this game had become a fight for survival. The judge once granted freedom to a man, and now, that same man held his fate in his hands. But for Olivia Carter, justice was still possible. Time was running out, and every passing second could be Judge Holden's last. Abandoned warehouse, a vast, dimly lit space with a cold concrete floor. In the center, a dusty chair holds a bound and gagged man, Judge Richard Holden.
You were the one who set me free, Your Honor. And now, it's my turn. You see, a man doesn't need a courtroom to be sentenced. Sometimes, all it takes is silence.
Killing me won't set you free, Calloway. If you do this, they will come for you.
Freedom. Freedom belongs to those who take it, Your Honor. I'm just helping you truly set me free.
There was no remorse in Calloway's eyes. This wasn't about justice. This was about winning or losing, and he was willing to do anything to win. Suddenly, the warehouse doors burst open. Olivia Carter and Detective Marcus Hayes storm inside, Olivia's gun aimed directly at Calloway.
Hands in the air, Calloway. This game is over.
A game? Oh no, Ms. Carter, this was only the beginning.
Calloway's hand moved toward his pocket. The tension in the air was suffocating. Olivia didn't hesitate for a second. A gunshot echoes through the warehouse. Calloway staggers backward, clutching his chest. His expression shifts from shock to realization before he collapses. Detective Marcus Hayes rushes forward, securing Calloway, while Olivia keeps her gun raised, her breath steadying. And in that moment, the truth was clear. Releasing James Calloway had been the greatest mistake, but there was still time to make things right. Olivia Carter had delivered the final blow for justice. Judge Richard Holden, gasping for breath, looks at Olivia, gratitude in his weary eyes.
You weren't too late.
Not this time, Your Honor.
The court had made a mistake, but this time, the guilty, not the innocent, paid the price, and at last, justice was served.